On March 3rd, 2026, a young couple pulled into my lot in a 10-year-old RAV4 they had bought exactly 9 days earlier. They were not angry. They were embarrassed. They had paid top dollar because, in their words, it's a Toyota. They last forever. The engine was drinking a quart of oil every 700 miles. The transmission fluid was black as coffee. And when I put it on the lift, I found something the seller never mentioned, and the online history report never caught. Today, I am walking you through the 7 things I check on every used Toyota before I let a friend or family member buy one, including the one check that reveals hidden accident damage in about 90 seconds, because the couple in that RAV4 lost thousands of dollars to a problem they could have spotted in a parking lot with a flashlight and a fridge magnet. Here is the uncomfortable truth about buying a used Toyota. The reputation is real, and the reputation is exactly what gets people burned. When a brand earns decades of trust, sellers learn to lean on that trust. They price the car high, they say the magic words, "Toyota, one owner, runs great," and buyers quietly lower their guard. I have watched careful, intelligent people negotiate hard on a used domestic car and then hand over cash for a used Camry without ever opening the hood. Nobody inspects the car with the bulletproof reputation. And that is precisely why the worst used car purchases I see in my shop are very often Toyotas. Not because the cars are bad, because the buyers stop checking. So let's fix that. 7 checks, in the order I actually do them, and I promise you, by the time we get to number 5, you will never look at a shiny used car the same way again. Check number 1 is the frame and underbody, and on a Toyota truck or SUV, this check comes before everything else. Before the test drive, before the engine, before you even sit in the seat. Get down on the ground with a flashlight and look at the frame rails, the cross members, the suspension mounting points, and the area around the fuel tank. Surface rust is normal. Every vehicle that has seen a winter road has some. What you are looking for is scale, flaking, and perforation, rust that has gone from the surface into the metal itself. Take a small screwdriver and gently press on any rusty section. Solid steel pushes back. Rotten steel gives, crumbles, or worse, goes straight through. And here is why this matters so much on a Toyota specifically. Toyota trucks from roughly the mid-90s through 2010 had a genuine documented frame corrosion problem. It was serious enough that Toyota extended rust warranties on older Tacomas and later settled a class-action lawsuit worth over $3 billion, covering frame inspection and replacement on affected Tacomas, Tundras, and Sequoias. Many of those trucks got brand new frames for free. But those programs have expired. The truck you are looking at today either got the treatment years ago or it did not. And if it did not, you are the one inheriting the frame. A Tacoma with a healthy frame is one of the best used vehicles money can buy. A Tacoma with a rotten frame is a parts truck wearing a nice paint job. 90 seconds on the ground tells you which one is in front of you. Check number 2 is oil consumption. And this is the one the couple in my shop learned the hard way. Most people check whether the oil looks clean on the dipstick, nod, and move on. Clean oil tells you almost nothing. Fresh oil is the cheapest disguise in the used car business. What you actually want to know is whether the engine burns oil, and there is a specific reason to care with Toyotas. A range of Toyota 4-cylinders from the mid-2000s, the 2AZ engine family found in Camrys, RAV4s, Corollas, Matrixes, and Solaras from roughly 2006 through the early 2010s had a piston and oil ring design problem. The tiny oil return holes behind the rings clog with carbon over time, the rings stick, and oil that should drain back into the crankcase gets burned in the combustion chamber instead. Toyota issued service bulletins, changed the piston design, and repaired many engines under an extended program. But just like the frames, plenty of cars never got fixed, and the ones that did not are still out there for sale right now. So here is what you do. Pull the dipstick and note the level, yes. But more importantly, ask the seller directly how often they add oil between changes. Watch their face. Then, during your test drive, do this. Get the engine fully warm, come to a stop, hold the brake, and let it idle for 30 seconds. Then accelerate briskly while a friend behind you watches the exhaust. A puff of blue-gray smoke on that acceleration is oil getting past the rings. No drama, no confrontation, just information. And an engine that burns oil is not automatically a walkaway, but it is absolutely a renegotiate, because you are either topping off forever or paying for pistons. Check number 3 is the transmission fluid, and this is where Toyota's own marketing works against you. Many modern Toyota automatics use what the company calls world standard fluid and describes as lifetime fill under normal conditions. So sellers, and honestly plenty of owners, believe the fluid never needs attention, which means on a lot of used Toyotas, that fluid has never once been looked at in 150,000 miles. Lifetime, in practice, tends to mean the lifetime of the fluid, not the lifetime of the car. On older Toyotas with a transmission dipstick, check it warm, in park, engine running. Healthy fluid is red to reddish brown and smells like almost nothing. Dark brown or black fluid with a burnt smell means the clutches inside have been cooking, and no drain and fill will unburn them. On newer sealed transmissions without a dipstick, you cannot check it in a parking lot, so the service records become your dipstick. If there is no record of a transmission service by 100,000 miles, budget for one immediately, and pay very close attention on the test drive to the shift from second to third and any shudder at light throttle around 40 miles per hour. The transmission is the single most expensive component in the vehicle after the engine. 2 minutes with a dipstick or a service folder protects you from a $4,000 surprise. Check number 4 is the maintenance paper trail, and I want to reframe how you think about this. Records are not about proving the oil was changed. Records are a personality test for the previous owner. A folder of receipts, even messy ones, even handwritten ones, tells you this person paid attention. And a Toyota that received even average attention will run practically forever. That is the honest version of the reputation. Toyotas are not indestructible. They are extraordinarily forgiving of average care and quietly unforgiving of zero care. An engine that went 12,000 miles between oil changes for a decade is building sludge no matter what badge is on the hood. So ask for records. If the seller has none, ask which shop they used, because almost every shop keeps digital service history and will confirm it with a phone call. No records, no shop name, and a suspiciously fresh oil change is not proof of a problem, but it moves the burden of proof onto the car, and everything else on this list gets checked twice. Which brings us to check number 5, the one from the title, and the one I genuinely believe almost nobody outside the trade knows how to do. This is how you find hidden accident damage that the seller forgot to mention and the history report never recorded. First, understand something about those online history reports. They only know about damage that generated paperwork, an insurance claim, a police report, a body shop that reported to the database. A cash repair after a quiet crash generates nothing. Industry data suggests a large share of accident repairs never appear on any report at all. The car in front of you can be one clean report and 2 bent unibody rails at the same time. So we check the metal, not the paperwork. Start with a cheap paint thickness gauge. They cost about the price of a tank of gas online. And factory Toyota paint typically measures somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 6 mils. Panels that have been repainted read higher, and panels carrying body filler read dramatically higher. Run it along every panel and the readings tell the story in seconds. No gauge on you? A small fridge magnet wrapped in a soft cloth will stick firmly to steel panels and fall right off a thick layer of filler. Then open every door, the hood and the trunk, and look at the bolts holding the fenders and hood hinges. From the factory, those bolts are painted over smoothly in body color. If you see chewed paint on the bolt heads or bare metal in the wrench marks, that panel has been off the car, and panels do not come off for fun. Look down the side of the car in low-angle light and watch the reflections flow across the panels. Ripples mean filler. Check that panel gaps are even, that the hood gap matches side to side, and peel back a corner of the rubber weather stripping around the doors and trunk, looking for overspray, that faint, rough mist of paint where paint should not be. Finally, in the trunk, lift the carpet and look at the metal seams around the spare tire well. Factory welds are uniform little dimples in neat rows. Repair welds look handmade because they were. None of these checks require skill. They require 90 seconds and the willingness to look. And here's the part that should genuinely bother you. A properly repaired car can be a fine purchase at the right price. The problem is never the repair. The problem is paying no accident money for a car with a hidden history, and that is exactly what the seller is counting on you to do. Check number 6 is the cold start, and this one requires you to control the conditions. Call ahead and specifically ask the seller not to start or drive the car before you arrive. A warm engine hides its sins. Worn engines rattle, tick, and smoke for the first 30 seconds of a cold morning and then settle into perfect behavior once oil pressure builds and metal expands. When you arrive, touch the hood. If it is warm, the seller warmed it up for you, and you should quietly ask yourself why. On a genuinely cold start, listen for the first 2 seconds. A brief rattle from the timing chain area on certain higher mileage Toyota engines, a knock that fades, a cloud from the tailpipe that is more than thin water vapor. These are the engine telling you the truth before the computer smooths everything over. Modern engine management is astonishingly good at masking wear once everything is warm. The cold start is the one moment the car cannot lie to you. And check number 7 is the title and identity of the car itself, which sounds boring right up until it saves you. Physically compare the VIN on the dashboard, the driver's door jamb sticker, and the title document. All 3 must match exactly, and the door sticker must be a factory sticker, not a reprint. Look at the title status for words like salvage, rebuilt, or flood. Then do your own flood check regardless, because flood cars get retitled across state lines and washed clean on paper. Run your hand under the carpet edges, feeling for grit and stiffness. Smell the car with the doors closed after it has sat. Musty never means anything good. Look for a fine waterline of silt in the spare tire well and corrosion on the seat mounting bolts. A flooded Toyota will run beautifully for a year while the water quietly destroys every connector and module from the inside, and by the time the electrical gremlins arrive, the seller is long gone. So that is the list. Frame, oil consumption, transmission fluid, records, hidden bodywork, cold start, and identity. Notice what is not on it. Nothing here requires a lift, a scan tool, or 20 years of turning wrenches. Every single check is eyes, hands, a flashlight, a magnet, and the discipline to actually do it while the seller stands there hoping you will not. And I will be honest with you, even all 7 checks are not a guarantee. If the car passes everything and the money is serious, a pre-purchase inspection at an independent shop is still the best $150 you will ever spend. What these checks do is make sure you never pay for that inspection on a car that should have been eliminated in the driveway. Because the real lesson is not about Toyotas at all. It is that a reputation belongs to the brand, but the condition belongs to the individual car sitting in front of you, and only one of those 2 things is going to live in your garage. The badge earned its trust over 50 years. The seller has known you for 15 minutes. Verify accordingly. If this changed how you will shop for your next Toyota, hit like so more buyers see it before they hand over their money. Subscribe if you want the knowledge that keeps you on the right side of every deal. And tell me in the comments, what did you find on a used car that made you walk away? Those stories save other people real money, because the most expensive used car is never the one you inspected too carefully, it is the one you trusted too fast.